Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hi, how's it going? How are you?
Very good. How's it going? Hope everyone is well. Uh, those of you who um, are victims of allergies, welcome to the allergy club. Real. Yeah, for real. That's just also killing everybody. So, 6:37, we're gonna call the meeting to order, and we're gonna get started. See from the panelists, I see someone from the 33. Who's probably going to be the first one on. Before that, I'd like to welcome Jumina Okobar, Assistant Chair, Jacob, Jack of all trades, those are all greatest at his thing. From Gasoline Minayo's office, Fernanda Lujan, uh, Lieutenant, last name, Lieutenant. Oh, he presented, so I'll use that for the minutes, for the records.
Oh, hi, it's Lieutenant Saburo. I'm,
Terms,
I'm sitting in, it says Nikki because she sends me the link. I'm sitting in for Captain Hernandez.
so that's a segue for you to start your report. So let's get started. See what's going on in
Oh, all
our
right. I'm first. Good evening, everyone. So we're having a pretty good year. So far we're still doing great here at the 33. For the 28th day, we are down 1.2% in crime. We're down 100% in murders. We are up 2% in rapes. And keep in mind the rape law has changed earlier this year or last year. Robberies are down 21.5% almost. 11 versus 14. We do see a little spike in felony assaults, 15.8, 22 versus 19, excuse me, 22 versus 19. Burglaries are doing great. We're down 60% in burglaries, 4 versus 10, along with grand larcenies, 17%, 29 versus 35. What we are seeing a major increases in recently are the GLAs, the grand larceny autos. The 28th day, we have a 200% spike in grand larceny autos. So 15 versus 5. I like to point out though, year to date, we are doing great overall in crime. We're still winning the year by 14.6%. So last year in 2024, up until this date, we had 350 crimes. As of right now, we have exactly 2,299 crimes. As always, what are we going to hit on? I know GLAs are going to raise an eyebrow. Keep your windows locked, the doors locked, try to park your vehicles in light lit locations. They're looking at Acuras, foreign vehicles, Honda CRVs, Honda Accords. They're happening mostly on the 4x with in dark, low light locations. Most of these cars are not running with they're stealing these cars at quick movement. It's taking them about 3-4 minutes to steal these cars. They're able to copy your key fob now from just by pulling alongside your vehicle. So that's what we're seeing. We're also seeing, I know a lot of concerns of the break-ins and the rims and tires. Please do not keep anything, valuable that can be seen in your glove compartment. We get complaints of people leaving their phone, money, jewelry in the center, invisible in a cup holder. Please, that should all be secured when you park your car at night. For rims and tires, anything works. I mean, it may not be the best solution, but getting tire locks, something to buy you those extra, maybe buy you those extra 1 or 2 minutes for them to, hopefully a cop car comes by, or someone sees what's going on, calls 911. A lot of these rims and tires and stolen vehicles are happening overnight. We've increased our patrols. We have our special ops lieutenant working midnights. We have one of our public safety teams has been tour changed. From 11 a.m. they went back to midnight patrol, and our NCOs, our neighborhood coordination officers, they're out there on the midnight every night, increasing patrol and hopefully in an effort to decrease these break-ins and car thefts. That's really all I have. Anyone have any questions or anything?
Yeah, I have two questions. One is one that you may want to share with us or not. How
Sure.
long have you how long have you been in the force?
How long been in force?
Yeah,
Just over 17 years.
for 17 years. So what do you, based on that experience, what would you say is a contributing factor to an increase in thefts and burglaries, and then a decrease on violent crimes? Why the disparities between the two?
Well, we have a decrease in burglaries.
Decrease in burglary.
Yeah.
So what was
Um,
jacked up? What was that
we
like
had
number?
the 200%, the major increase was in the auto thefts.
Not of that.
Yes. It's basically, I can't explain exactly why, but they're going over after, because I don't have the answer, not that I want to, but they are looking at certain cars. I remember years ago, it was the Honda Accords, the Acuras. They're going back to those. It's very easy to copy these keys. Uh, you don't have to go to a locksmith to change a chip. They're able to pull alongside your vehicle and with a handheld device, electronic device, and a blank key, their key fob, I should say, um, copy, transmit from the parked vehicle to their this device that they have in their hand within 1 or 2 minutes to copy the exact replica of the code to get into your key, to get into the car. Once they do that, they're able to start the vehicle and just drive off. And it happens, we're catching it on camera. It's happening within maybe 3-4 minutes, not even. It's that quick. They're pulling up alongside, they're making a copy, someone gets out, they hop in the car and just drive off with the vehicle.
Are you, how many officers do you have allocated or designated to foot patrol from your
Foot
precinct?
patrol, so we don't have anyone on foot patrol. And also our FTUs, our most recent class, I would say for at least 6 months now, they are being allocated every night to the 3-4 precinct. So
Well, what was the last class of rookies that you guys got, and how many?
our last class, would probably be, if I remember correctly, this past December.
How many did you get?
8. And every night, being that we're winning the year, we're doing so great in crime. The 3-4 does have a little, they have a little increase in crime. They have the nightlife out there. Every night, our rookies are being redeployed to the 3-4 precinct.
I don't see anyone
Have you-
excited to become a cop nowadays from IC.
Have you had any recent complaints with noise now that the weather is getting warmer? What would you say, like if you give us a temperature check on noise across the precinct, how would you describe it? And what are some of your protocols for addressing noise complaints?
Okay, so I don't have the numbers right in front of me. Obviously, anyone with noise complaints could free to call 311. 311 calls come to the desk or come to the desk. We will from there, supervisor will redeploy a car or a sector. There are times when noise complaints come multiple times. In that instance, if we see the same repeated location, not only will that supervisor at the desk send a car, they've been instructed to send the patrol supervisor, another supervisor who's on the field, to go out themselves now and address the issue.
And my last question would be on the recent increase in rape incidents in within the precinct. I guess it was more like are the victims coming directly to the precinct, or because I remember previously was shared out that a victim came out after years, so it makes the investigating a little difficult on
Right.
the precinct end. So I was wondering what are some of the cases you've been seeing recently that you not conflicting with what you're investigating, but what are we seeing recently? And what was the change in the law that could have increased this?
Well, recently the law changed, so criminal sexual act changed. So sexual act, what was previously defined as a criminal sexual act is now considered as a rape. Also, we've seen, the recent movement of more victims coming out, and rightfully so, coming out as victims in recent years. That is creating an increase in the rapes that we are seeing, and rightfully so, they have the right to do that. Going back to the law, criminal sexual act would be usually a rape traditionally defined was penis to vagina. Criminal sexual act would be penis to anus. That is now considered a rape. So that is causing that, not I won't say use the word causing, but that is reflecting in our numbers now that rapes are going up.
Jacob, anyone from the public? Oh, one last question. I was curious to find out if you have a percentage of cases of recidivism, like those cases that continue to have.
The same people keep getting arrested.
Right. How's that coming? I mean, is your work in the courts, is that still an issue, or how does it?
Well, when you speak recids, are you reflecting to what type of recids? We call them recids, but what type of recidivists are you referring to?
In this community, mainly shoplifting. It's probably the one.
Shoplifting. So we do have shoplifting recidivists. We do maintain a list. Our field intelligence officer retains a list. We try our best to go after them. There are times when we are able to build a case where instead of them letting them, getting to be charged with petty larceny, we attempt to build a case for grand larceny, in hopes when a DA conferral can keep them in jail for quite some time. That sometimes fails, that sometimes works. But a lot of these cases, these petty larceny, recids, or shoplifting are being basically let out as soon as they see the judge then and there.
All right.
Is Captain Christian Hernandez still the commanding officer?
Yes, he's here. He's back. He's actually in another meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you so much. You want to stick around? Fine. If not,
Yeah, I'll be here for a few. I'll be here. Where is it?
so we're gonna move along to the 3-4. Who's the person who's gonna be presenting today? Which officer?
Good evening, everyone. Officer Tavares, Community Affairs Officer. How
Is
are we?
Navarrete still around, or he retired?
Officer Navarrete, my old partner, he was transferred. I'm the only Community Affairs Officer now.
The only
So-
NCO?
I'm sorry?
Are you the only NCO in the whole precinct?
No, the only Community Affairs Officer. We have 8 NCOs, two for every sector. But Community Affairs Officers, you're supposed, usually at minimum you have 2. My partner that you probably knew for a lot longer than me, Officer Navarrete, he's no longer here at the 34 anymore.
Yeah, we'll certainly miss working with him, although we're glad you're here.
Yeah, I know he'll miss working the 3-4 also. So thank you, and I appreciate it. So I'll start off. Similar to the 3-3, we're also down year to date in crimes. Last year having 536 major crimes to now having 497 for the year. But in the 28-day period, we are up 13%. Where we're actually up in murder. We took the murder in 10th Avenue that happened not too long ago. We're down in rape, where we had a rape last year and we do not this year. We're up in robberies by 10%, which is just from 19 last year to 21 this year. We're up in felony assaults this year from what we had as 29 last year to 32 this year. We're up in burglaries this year from four last year to 6 this year. That's what I've noticed when I looked at the numbers. That's burglaries that are occurring at apartment buildings where individuals are forcing their way inside of the building and removing items from these buildings. We're up 4% in grand larceny from last year to this year, from 49 to 51. We're high in we're higher in grand larceny autos, just like the 3-3. We're having the same issues in both of our jurisdiction, where Hondas, Toyotas are common issues of vehicles that are being stolen. Like the lieutenant said, it's kind of crazy how quick and how well these individuals are taking these autos in minutes and parts in a minute, possibly, where we've seen videos where they're removing vehicle parts very quickly. That's what's made it difficult to actually stop these crimes from happening. But to counter it, we've made units. Not units. We've had autos just passing through these dark areas. Our main problematic areas are usually Bennett, where it's quiet. Cabrini, also behind Amsterdam. Laurel Hill Terrace is a common one where it's low light, not too many foot traffic. So those are common areas where in our precinct it actually happens more towards after the midnight hours. So that's just to be aware of. And that's about it. Like I said, we're up 13% more in major crimes from last year. Any questions for me? The questions for me? I'm sure there's questions.
What would a major crime be considered?
I'm sorry?
What would be considered a major crime?
Sorry. So that's where we have 7 major crimes, which are murder, rape, robbery, felony assault, burglary, grand larceny, and grand larceny of an auto. So those are our major 7 that we look at. We look at every crime, but those are our major ones that week by week, 28 days, year to year, we compare them throughout the whole year, basically. So those are our major 7 that we really always want to keep low, and honestly creates an issue for the public. Rapes, robberies, those are extreme crimes.
I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked the 3-3.
Yes.
What do you have? Foot patrol, how many officers do you have?
Right now we have a little under 80 for all 3 tours shifts. So from day shift to the afternoon and the midnight, we have a little under 80 officers in total. In the precinct, we have a total of 126 officers. So I do feel bad for the 3-3 where they get the help and they get the new officers and they have to send them to us. Yeah, we do appreciate the help. We do appreciate that because of our new officers and because of the 3-3's help, we do have some foot patrol in the Dyckman areas, the not well lit areas, for that reason, to counter these crimes that usually happen.
From the categories of major crimes, where exactly was the increase? Aside from like car theft, what were the other?
The major increase were car theft and burglary. And the car theft is just because of how well they like the lieutenant explained, that they've become very good at what they're doing. And it's not a good way of saying it, but they're actually, it's pretty crazy how well they're how quickly they're taking vehicles. And the other one is burglaries that we've gone up high, which is it's higher, but it's not that a crazy amount. We've gone up from 4 last year to 6 this year, and that's most of those, the majority of those actually, are really the buildings that are being broken, if you forcefully enter into a building, an establishment that you're not supposed to be in, you're burglarizing the building when you remove an item. So that's what we're and I don't want to categorize these people as homeless, but most of them is that it's homeless people removing items from an establishment or a residence that they don't belong in.
Yeah, how's the southeast corner of 190th Street in Audubon?
The southeast corner of 190 and Audubon,
The bodega.
the bodega. Honestly, that bodega
After
has,
the stabs they had last month.
honestly, after that, they're I don't want to say that they haven't been that bad, but we haven't had a problem with them particularly, you know, because to say that they weren't they haven't been that bad, it's a terrible statement, since we had a pretty bad incident that happened not too long ago with them, or in the vicinity, because the bodega itself is not wasn't the issue, but the people around the area.
There any updates on the issue we had, like great amount of attendance 3 months ago, right? On the individual that was being accused of allegedly being verbally abusive to the people that were at the Cabrini Park, right?
Yeah.
And the 420 Park. Are there any updates as to what's that situation?
On what individual?
It was like, what was it, 3 months ago, 4 months
3
ago?
months ago.
There was a good number of members of the public who attended our meeting in regards to an individual that was in the area of, I think, Bennett Park and Fort Tryon Park. That was there were a lot of complaints about him making women and children feel unsafe.
I remember. I recall. Yeah. So that individual was actually arrested for multiple reports that were made on him. Made because of incidents that occurred with him. Whether he's in custody or not, I'm not so sure. But the last time, which was not this previous community council meeting, but the previous one before that, he was arrested and in our custody. Does he remain? I'm not sure. I can't tell you. I haven't. I can reach out to the ADA's office tomorrow, and I can obtain that info. But last
Office is on the call, Chris.
Oh,
We'll
wow.
answer that.
You will be next on our presentation office.
So I have a question, very, very, the same thing as I asked our 33rd precinct. So management on noise, with the weather changing, getting slightly warmer, what exactly is your protocol to address noise complaints, whether it comes from 911 or the 311?
So, I guess I agree with the lieutenant that the calling or referring to 311 is the easiest way to get us to know what's going on. Our strategy, we have a new commanding officer that's no games being played. He's willing to give warnings to shut off music, and he's well for permits and sound permits being given, because you're legally trying to have an event outdoors that you're advising the city, and you're letting us know what you're trying to do. But if it's not legal and it's not and if it's at an extreme volume, he and our staff plan to shut stuff down. So you refer to 311 and you let us know, and we will go out there and we will make sure that we control the noise, because we know that it is very noisy.
Yeah, and I specifically, I think this question is a little stronger towards the 34th precinct, because our community board this week, we had a hearing on noise, specifically a lot of complaints coming from Quisqueya Plaza on Dykeman, So, although I know last month I was referred to legal department within the precinct, I was just wondering if this aligns with the recent allegations with the 34th precinct ignoring 311 noise complaints with what happened in the past. So I guess with that, I just want to emphasize that I guess with the new captain or commanding officer within the precinct to address that a specific way that meets both needs, because based on the hearing, I believe someone from the 34th was present, or the 33rd. I'm not too sure which precinct was there. I think there's a great opportunity for the precinct to come back from that narrative, all the negative that transpired from the news articles of the 34th precinct not addressing people's 311 complaints due to whatever was said, right?
Mhm.
So just like friendly tip, there has to be a specific protocol or stronger approach on addressing all needs, because the emphasis that I received on Tuesday from the hearing was there's two sides. Some folks see it as a cultural hub, the importance of maintaining community spaces that can get loud naturally within communities, but then also some folks referring as a quality of life issue. So I just
Mhm.
wanted to put that on your radar. Strongly encourage y'all to attend whenever there's these kind of hearings, so that you get all perspective, and maybe that can help implement, specific approach and tactics when it comes to noise in the
Mhm. Absolutely.
Before you answer, I'm gonna chime into your question, because not probably, I am the oldest person who's been a board
you
member.
are.
So I can tell you this, right? There were situations in the past, specifically in Dykeman, before Quisqueya was, that when businesses came in front of the board for the liquor licenses renewals, they'll get a number of 311 calls, right? So I noticed that there was a pattern along the way. And this particular business got 309 311 noise complaints, which is an outstanding, extremely high number, correct?
Yeah.
But I dove in a little deeper and I found out that out of those 309 calls, over 300 were from the same person. So there is always a possibility that some folks can criminalize the 311 calls for their own advantage. I've seen letters of opposal, I don't want to say opposal, but letters against liquor licenses renewals
Yeah.
of people that are living in California, friends of people that live in our community, saying that this business should not get a liquor license because they're friends with the person that's telling them. So there's that thin line as to what's what, especially when you have a system that is extremely overly democratic and it could be used to the advantage of certain groups.
Yeah.
However, the police department should be more proactive,
Yeah.
regardless of the fact. And I don't think that 34 has been as good as they should be when it comes to noise complaints, given the fact that we are the number 2 noisiest neighborhood in New York City. You could Google it.
Oh, I mean, I believe it. Trust me. And I feel like that being categorized as a loud community creates a stigma for the precinct to, police the community. However, there's so many factors that make us loud, like a whole bunch of different factors that make the community loud. So it's like,
But I can tell you something though. A loud Aretha Franklin song is not as loud as a bachata song, and I can prove it. I can prove it up with data.
I think just thinking about like the no.
And that is the truth.
I don't know. I can't really weigh in on that one, but
Don't. But I
I
could.
think I was going to say that I think really the core of the issue is less so the type of music, and there is some concern among a lot of people where it comes to like what's permitted and what's not permitted, and that's where I can really lean into that. Like as long as the noise level is, if you have a permit and it's within that limit, then like that should be okay. And that's fine.
Yeah, that's,
I think we get, there's a lot of people that try to, it runs into a big cultural issue. And I don't want to like let that run afoul of what is the law and what's not the law, you know?
we had
So-
a noise forum 5 years ago. And I went a little deeper. I asked the Manhattan Borough President's Office to do a study as to the kind of noise that usually generate all the most 311 complaints. So it happens that music was number 4, construction, sirens from the police department and the ambulances, and then like noise from like in apartment buildings
Yeah.
from neighbors. So it's extremely easy to categorize everything in the same pot and then say, okay, this is a noisy community. But there's always construction. I think we have the noisiest sirens in the world. Because when I lived in Riverdale, we had the same fire department and they goddamn sirens weren't as loud as ours. So I'm just saying,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Okay then. So with that, having said that, go ahead, officer.
Yeah.
How does-
So the commanding officer is he's already been explaining to the public what his plans are, and that he's explained in the past, and he's shown it that he's gonna be making changes regarding the public, where it's he said it also that it's gonna be a more quieter neighborhood, and he promises that just because he knows that he's gonna be out there doing what he has to do, like he's told his officers to do what he has to do. And I'm out there with him on most occasions, and he when the community outcries about whatever issues going on, whether it's vehicles, noise, he's making calls on the spot in front of me to make some changes. So that's where I like he has said, the give him a little time and have some trust in him. He's making the changes needed to go ahead and show you guys that he's trying to help out with the noise in the neighborhood, and he understands that the cultural behind some events and some music, where it's like you don't want to just go and summons everybody, but at the same time a warning where this is what's gonna happen, so we need you to shut down if you're not legally permitted, like you mentioned, where it's all about having legal documentation and showing us that this is what you advise the city, and you have to pay the city to go ahead and have an event, and sound permits, they come through the community affairs office. So I will know if you actually do have a sound permit or do not. So it's easy to identify who's out there legally and who's not, for myself.
Would it be possible to have a quick intro with the new captain, maybe to our next meeting, just so we can have like a quick intro with him?
The new commanding officer.
Yes.
Okay, Inspector Portalatin. Okay, yeah. We can after the meeting we can schedule something to.
He was at the Queen's post, right?
Yes. He was previously the commanding officer of the 110 precinct,
Okay.
Roosevelt area.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll follow up with him
Yeah.
in our office.
Yeah,
Barbara,
Okay.
I see you're here.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jocelyn from the district attorney.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
I have one more question. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I saw there was a recent video within a restaurant location within the Nagel Avenue, and it seemed like we had police presence within an establishment, and there was like, I don't know if it was sort of a comical content online but it seemed like one of the officers was touched by a young woman, in which like she put her hands around his neck. It looked like a choke. I was just wondering, was that like a serious situation? Was there a reason why we had the police present within that establishment on Eagle, just to get some clarity on that?
I'm not aware of this like video or the incident. I could figure out, but I haven't even heard or know about this particular incident that you're speaking of. And when did this happen?
I saw it on Monday.
Okay. Social media?
Yes, I saw it on social media.
That's what I figured. Let me.
So is that your email right there on like your name?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just follow up with you offline.
Yeah, you can send me an email and I'll respond to you. We'll speak further on it.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well,
Always.
okay. That's one.
Could I ask a question?
Yep. I'm here.
Yeah, question.
May I speak?
Go ahead, Barbara.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't raise my hand. I can't find it along the bottom here. I wanted to add what you said about the noise. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I have a friend in the hospital I had to go see. The question I have is this, or kind of a question, a statement. Before, in previous years, when we had a problem with these pop-up parties that happen, that are fairly well organized, even more on social media, a very serious one that has been ongoing is basically around above the top of Fort George Hill, behind the high school. I think Denise Laufer has put a lot of these on social media, speakers, a lot of cars, a lot of wheelies along the street there behind the high school and along the edge of the park. Before, what police would do is they would set up sawhorses, have some police there, and just not allow anyone in there unless they were residents parking. And basically, if it was stopped by about 10 or 11 o'clock, it didn't start. And I think there has to be that kind of proactive approach in order to, move them somewhere else. And generally, these are people who do not live in the neighborhood. They are people that come over from the Bronx, Jersey, and other places and see this as a gathering point. Can you comment on that? And can you get that organized? Comment. I'm sure you're aware of that problem there.
I'm well aware of that problem. I've been part of the officers that stay in that area to block it off and make sure. I know what you're speaking of. Where on one I know you block it off, one I know in Amsterdam, and we block it off on the other end on Fort George Avenue, so no cars can enter the rear of the school. The only issue that we're having is our low personnel. So what we will be doing is either increasing the how often we pass through there to keep the parties and the vehicles from entering and gathering. And if we do see it to be a problem where they're continuous, because the issue with some of these events is that it's not even just on a Friday, Saturday. It could be a Tuesday evening, and they'll come in. And if that is the case, then I will direct it to the commanding officer and let him know what issues we're having, so we can continue to shut them down like we've done in the past.
Thank you so much.
Always my pleasure.
Jocelyn?
Yeah, I'm going to hand it over to Fernanda, but I just wanted to really quickly update on the case with the person who was allegedly sexually harassing people. So we currently have 4 open cases with this person. And just recently, the DA announced that they upgraded the charges on one of the cases. So it was recently indicted. So there's 4 open cases on before us with this one person. So, we're still currently investigating. If anyone else comes forward, we'll certainly look into it. But to answer your question before to the 3-4, in terms of what's going on with that. He is currently out on bail in two of them and supervised released on another one. So, you know, I can certainly follow up with you and let you know the status of those moving forward. On another note, there happens to be another person who is allegedly doing the same type of conduct within the 3-4 confines, and there is currently a wanted an iCard out for that person. So you know, hopefully this person will be picked up soon as well. And you know, just for women to be on the lookout and be aware of their surroundings in the meantime. And I'll hand it over to Fernanda.
Thank you, Jocelyn.
Hi, everyone. Fernanda Lujan, Community Engagement Coordinator at the Manhattan DA's office. So I was going to thank the community board and the precincts for attending the Denim Day Resource Fair. You know, it was a successful event. And then I was going to update on the Albertorio case, but I'm aware that now Jocelyn has now updated us. So if anyone has any other questions or concerns, that will be it.
Thank you, Fernanda.
Thank you.
Do we have any other agencies that will be doing a reporting today, either from FDNY? I didn't see anyone from there, or from our neighbors at keep forgetting, at Edgecombe facilities.
Oh, I do have a question on I believe it was the grants the DA's office shared previously. I think it was about supporting organizations regarding like gun
The
violence.
grant or something?
Yeah, it was about grants. I was wondering if the deadline had passed already, and if any organizations within the Washington Heights, Inwood area were awarded these grants.
So the deadline has passed. I believe there were many applications for those grants. But to my knowledge, there was no Washington Heights representation that was granted the award.
Gotta get some more gun violence support in these organizations.
I think we're gonna get more of trying to figure out a way of having a wider outreach in the Washington Heights communities.
And I mean, I believe the 34th precinct announced, like online, they shared about finding a gun or like a gun within the district. So, you know, even though the DA's office went hard and got a lot of them out, there still should be more like, you know, education and like reinforcement on getting those guns off the street. Yeah.
I think thank you all for taking the time to enlighten us with so much information, taking our questions, hard questions, soft questions, no questions, and your time first and foremost, which is what counts the most. Unless anyone else has anything else to add to our short version of a meeting.
I do. The topic of discussion, which is just looking at.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, what will the staffing be for the 34th? Is there a class that's at graduating from the academy soon, and what would the added staffing be, and what the retirements look like?
You mentioned that there were 155 police officers on staff at this point, and the 33 mentioned that the last time that there were any new officers on arrival were December 2024. Those are the only
It's Lieutenant Saburo. I'm still here. I believe officers from the 3-4 signed off. But as far as to answer your question, if it helps, I can't speak for the 3-4, but there is currently an academy class in the academy. As far as staffing, what we're getting, we don't find out usually to the day of graduation. It's not like we get a heads up a month in advance or 2 weeks in advance of who's coming.
Mhm.
We usually find out the day of, and then that's usually subject to change to the last minute. So we don't know our exact numbers until then.
Am I correct to say that it used to be that the 33rd and the 34th had about 250 officers?
Used to would be the word. I currently have, I would say, about 100 full duty police officers, not including supervisors.
Yeah. So that's way, way down, way,
Yeah.
way down.
And like I guess I cannot speak for the 3-4. I believe that we have more.
Yeah.
I hope that
Okay.
answers your question.
It does answer my question, and it speaks to being strained very thin, very thin.
Thank you so much.
I'll be brief. I just wanted to see
No.
about the June meeting, which is the last one before we'll have a summer recess. Some months ago, we had a group come to us from the rowing people, because they've been having an issue with safety of their boats and their rowers. Do you think we could reach out to the Coast Guard to see if they would attend our meeting, just to talk about, like, now that it's getting warmer and people are going to be out on the water? I'd really like to know
Was
what
it
they're
ever,
doing.
was it ever determined, was the enforcement was, on the hands of the Parks Department or the Coast Guard Department?
It's like a really confusing issue, but I think that it would be safe to say that it's like the Coast Guard. And it may fall between Parks and the Coast Guard, but either way, I think I would like to talk with the Coast Guard about that issue.
I think the best way is to have our office reach out.
That'd be cool.
We received a question from the public. Lizette Tavares asks, do we have police presence by Laurel Hill entrance to the High Bridge path?
We have High Bridge Park, but I don't know exactly what they're referring to.
But that's the three.
The Low Hill entrance is down the 3-4 side.
That's between 181st and 182nd Street, that Laurel
Yeah.
Hill, the third way.
That would be a question for the 3-4. I couldn't answer that.
That's probably what she's referring to.
So the 3-4 precinct is actually logged off. So
Yeah.
we can probably save your question, Lizette, for June's public safety meeting. And if you join us again next month, please, if you don't mind asking your question again. If anything, if you miss it, we'll ask it for you on your behalf, and it'll be here on our records, okay? All right.
Okay, so we're gonna call the meeting to order and good night.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.